We all crave a juicy, flavorful steak. That first bite, seared to perfection, is pure satisfaction. But premium cuts come with premium prices. Can we enjoy steakhouse quality on a grocery store budget? Absolutely. With the right knowledge, we can transform affordable cuts into tender, delicious masterpieces. Get ready to unlock the secrets of budget-friendly steak. This isn't about settling for less. It's about understanding how to get the most out of every cut. We'll explore techniques used by chefs and home cooks alike. You'll learn how to select the right cut, tenderize effectively, and maximize flavor. Get ready to impress yourself and your guests. Delicious, affordable steak is within your reach. Let's fire up the grill and get started. Supermarket meat aisles can be daunting. Ribeyes and strips gleam under the lights, but their price tags make us flinch. Don't despair. Look beyond these popular choices. Some cuts are hidden gems, offering incredible flavor at a fraction of the cost. Consider flank steak. This lean, flavorful cut is perfect for marinating and grilling. Skirt steak, another excellent choice, boasts intense beefy flavor. And don't overlook chuck eye steak, often called the poor man's ribeye. These cuts might require a bit more TLC, but the results are worth it. We'll explore tenderizing methods in the next section so you can enjoy melt-in-your-mouth tenderness without breaking the bank. Remember, a little knowledge goes a long way in the world of steak. Chapter 3. The challenge. Tough steaks, tight budgets. We've all been there. You walk into the supermarket craving a juicy steak, but then reality bites. Those prime cuts? Way out of your budget. The cheaper options? They look tough enough to sole your shoes with. Don't despair. You don't need a Michelin star budget to enjoy fantastic steak. With a few tricks, even the toughest, cheapest cuts can be transformed into mouth-watering masterpieces. We'll unlock the secrets of tenderizing, seasoning, and cooking, turning those budget-friendly cuts into restaurant-quality meals. Get ready to impress yourself and your wallet. It's time to turn that cheap steak into a culinary triumph. Chapter 4. Marination Magic. Turning tough to tender. Marination is your secret weapon in the battle against tough steaks. It's not just about flavor, it's about breaking down those tough muscle fibers and transforming them into tender, juicy bites. This is where the magic happens. A good marinade does more than just add flavor. It actually changes the texture of the meat. Think of it as a spa day for your steak, relaxing those tough proteins and getting it ready for a delicious transformation. Chapter 5. Acid Power. Unleashing flavor and tenderness. One of the most effective ways to tenderize tough cuts is with acid. Think citrus fruits like lemon or lime, vinegar, yogurt, or even buttermilk. These acidic ingredients work wonders on the meat, breaking down those proteins and making it unbelievably tender. Don't be afraid to experiment. A splash of lemon juice adds a bright, fresh flavor, while balsamic vinegar brings a rich, tangy depth. Yogurt and buttermilk, on the other hand, tenderize the meat while adding a wonderful creaminess. Chapter 6. Beyond acid, enchanting marinades for unforgettable flavors. While acid is key, don't underestimate the power of other ingredients in your marinade. Aromatics like garlic, ginger, and onions infuse the meat with incredible flavor. Herbs and spices add complexity and depth. Get creative and experiment with different flavor combinations. A little soy sauce, honey, and garlic create a savory sweet marinade that's perfect for grilling. Or try a blend of olive oil, rosemary, thyme, and garlic for a classic Mediterranean flavor. Chapter 7. Seasoning Secrets. Enhancing natural flavors. Seasoning is crucial for bringing out the best in your steak. But remember, sometimes less is more. A simple sprinkle of salt and pepper applied generously just before cooking can be all you need to enhance those natural beefy flavors. Don't be afraid to get creative with your seasonings. Experiment with different types of salt like sea salt or kosher salt for a more complex flavor. Add a pinch of garlic powder, onion powder, or paprika for an extra punch. Now for the part of controversy. Our marinades are brewed to perfection with some soy and many other seasonings and liquids that will perfectly tenderize and infuse those muscle fibers, putting even the toughest cuts to rest. Wine Country's finest has been making marinades since the late 1900s. But before the marinade became a family tradition, we used thick salts like kosher and sea salts to bring out the moisture, then infuse it with simple things like butter, lemon, and oils or certain alcohols. Old school ways that still work. There are 5 simple stages of enjoying an amazing steak old school style. Buying the right steaks, bringing the steak to room temperature before cooking the steak, letting the cooked steak rest. Now let's look a little closer into those 4 stages. My focus for buying any steak is the marbling. I can see through the packaging. I'm not the kind of guy who'd spend $100 or more on a steak, so Wagyu Kobe beef is pretty much not on my menu. However, I do look for good marbling because it just tastes better. The right kind of marbling. Marbling is important to steak because it adds flavor, the right kind of flavor, juiciness as it melts into the steak when cooking, and tenderness because the fat is much more tender than the muscle fiber in the steak. Regardless of whether I buy my steaks at Ralph's, Vaughn's, or Whole Foods, I can always see through the plastic packaging and decide if the steak is marbled enough for my purpose. I do look for grass-fed and often organic steak, though. That's just my preference with most of the items I buy at a grocery store. Brining the steak, I learned that brine, salt, actually helps dissolve some of the muscle fibers, which helps to reduce the toughness of meat. The result is a more tender cooked steak. It so happened that I didn't like the wet brine with a salt solution. Dry brine is what I chose, and it works best for me. Masterclass says it best, and my old school family members agree. Dry brining is a way to brine a steak without using any liquid, relying on a coating of salt and pepper. No table salt, it's too thin, and your steak will taste like the Dead Sea, and next a set period of time, anywhere from 45 minutes to 48 hours, stowed in the refrigerator to work its magic. This allows the salt to more effectively permeate the cut of meat and tenderize it at the same time. The depth of flavor achieved with a dry brine is a level up from a basic season and cook. You don't need a large amount of salt, though. A very thin layer is enough. Rub it into the meat with your fingers. I let the steak sit in the refrigerator for about 2 hours, and that gives the meat the right kind of tenderness for me. Bringing the steak to room temperature before cooking. Letting the meat come to room temperature before cooking makes a difference. I can assure you that. It means that your steak will cook more evenly. The logic behind this is pretty simple. If you cook your meat until the inside measures a certain temperature, but that inside starts out with a higher temperature than the outside, the steak won't be cooked evenly. It'll likely be overcooked on the outside. So usually 30 to 60 minutes is recommended and works to get it to room temperature, depending on the thickness of the steak. Salt preserves as well, otherwise setting out is not safe. If you purchase a bottle of our marinade with one of our coupons available, like Father's Day, that removes $8 right off the top at checkout. Roughly you can grab one for like $12. And it lasts up to 6 to 8 cookouts straight from the bottle. And with our Ziploc hack, you're set. That's 12 to 16 barbecues off one bottle, so more is actually less. Salt is good for meat, if it's used right. Like I explained, our marinades of 3 flavors has some soy to open those pores and let the sauces in. I always catch hell for this, but it actually works, and is still practiced by old-timers all over the world. Chapter 8. The Art of Grilling Achieving Steak Perfection. Now for the main event, grilling your perfectly marinated steak. Grilling is all about high heat, quick cooking, and those beautiful sear marks that scream restaurant quality. A hot grill sears the outside of the steak, creating a flavorful crust while locking in the juices. Make sure your grill is nice and hot before you start. You want those steaks to sizzle as soon as they hit the grates. A hot grill is essential for getting those perfect grill marks and that delicious char-grilled flavor. Chapter 9. Grill Master's Guide. Temperatures and times for every doneness. Cooking time depends on the thickness of your steak and your desired level of doneness. Use a meat thermometer to ensure the internal temperature is just right. Remember, you can always cook it a bit longer if needed, but you can't uncook it. A rare steak should have an internal temperature of 125 to 130 degrees Fahrenheit, while a medium rare steak should be cooked to 130 to 135 degrees Fahrenheit. For a medium steak, aim for 135 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and for a medium well steak, cook to 140 to 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Chapter 10. Letting the steak reach its full potential. Once your steak is cooked to your liking, resist the urge to dig in right away. Letting it rest for a few minutes allows the juices to redistribute throughout the meat, resulting in a more tender and flavorful bite. Tent the steak loosely with foil and let it rest for 5 to 10 minutes. This allows the muscle fibers to relax and reabsorb those delicious juices, ensuring a more tender and flavorful steak. Chapter 11. Enhancing tenderness and presentation. Slicing your steak against the grain is another trick for maximum tenderness. Look at the direction of the muscle fibers and cut across them, not with them. This helps to shorten those fibers, making each bite more tender. Arrange those beautifully sliced pieces on a platter and get ready to impress. A simple garnish of fresh herbs or a sprinkle of flaky sea salt elevates the presentation even further. Chapter 12. Elevating your steak experience on a budget. With a little know-how, even the most budget-conscious home cooks can enjoy steakhouse quality meals at home. Choose affordable cuts, marinate them to perfection, and cook them with confidence, knowing you've unlocked the secrets to tender, flavorful steak. Don't forget the sides. Simple, affordable sides like roasted vegetables, mashed potatoes, or a fresh salad complete the meal without breaking the bank. With a little planning and creativity, you can enjoy a restaurant-quality steak dinner at a fraction of the cost. Chapter 13. Mastering steak from budget to gourmet. So there you have it. You've unlocked the secrets to transforming budget-friendly steaks into culinary masterpieces. Now it's your turn to get cooking. Remember, the key is to choose the right marinade, season generously, cook to perfection, and let it rest. With a little practice and these tips, you'll be amazed at the delicious and affordable steaks you can create at home. Get ready to impress your taste buds and your wallet. Wine Country's finest marinades, sharing more knowledge. Only the best, recommended for you and yours. Cheers.